I didn't catch.
Sorry.
I didn't. Excuse me. I didn't catch most of the match. So I didn't get there until you're like well into age 6. Um, but I thought it was interesting that your just Thomas, your decision to take the 5s out of your score pile. I guess that was meant as a defensive action. You wanted to prevent the score on the you're trying to prevent the machine tools from getting too big.
Yeah, like I was hoping statistics would work more than actually it did. Like in the end, blocked it quite quickly. Like I could use it only once, I think. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I was happy statistics didn't make
Because
a
you're
problem.
like 2 moves away from getting the 6 or the 5. I'm sorry. Because you could have done an invention to get the score, and then you could have drawn a 6, and then ready to achieve the 6 the following round.
I think I was at 24 with that.
You're at 20 points, I believe. I mean, we could look
He
at
was
the
at 20, but
I think you're at
it's a
20
4.
points, so you would have gotten to 26 with invention.
I thought there was.
I think you could have won the race to 5. I guess that was my that was the most surprising thing. Other than that, it seemed like it was.
I think at that point there was a 4. I had returned perspective with measurement, and so there was a 4 blocking the way.
Oh, there was a 4.
So if he did invention, he would only score 4. I think
right.
That was
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I missed that.
But I was also surprised that he, when I shared canal building, he actually accepted. But then statistics explained everything.
Yeah, not sure that was the right move. But also, I must say, like there was call in my score line, so I have I cannot lose the temptation to get it back.
But then I would be sharing because I had all those reds with
yeah. But like I was maybe at that point you didn't have like
maybe at that.
Maybe you had only 4 at that point. I'm not sure. Like I was hoping maybe.
I think when I returned perspective is I had enough yellows, and that's maybe when I drew machine learning, which I was happy with. Because I think that was my first 6.
What? Why is it impossible?
Yeah, so here I was figuring that you probably were going to draw clothing because I wasn't drawing it. I was happy that you were sharing domestication, and I kept getting different colors. So,
I was hoping it was slightly different. Here I was very happy I didn't use domestication because like it could have ended in a disaster with like big hand and you have oars and like you were so kind to give me sailing.
Yeah, and I did after you melded writing and sailing. There was only one left that had crowns, which was city states, and I thought, well, you thought for such a long time. It still has city states in your head.
Yeah, not like the thing that I really didn't want to get rid of leaves. You had pottery and codal laws. Like having 5 would have felt better, but on the other hand, like like oars, if things go wrong, can really go the wrong way. So
right. And then unfortunately, domestication forced me to cover pottery, which was a little annoying. I think, right?
Domestication, or was it mysticism?
Something covered it with
with calendar. It was mysticism.
Mysticism, okay.
Yeah, I was very happy. But yeah, also
Yeah.
maybe you weren't too unhappy to get metal working before, like when I used them.
Yeah, covering up my oars. Yep. Yeah. And that took a castle out of my hand for masonry.
Mm.
So yeah, that wasn't that good for me.
Mm.
And I was worried that so I drew some at this point, I drew both yellow threes. So I was not worried about mysticism covering up masonry. But I was worried that mysticism would cover up something like wheel or metalworking because I hadn't seen any red threes yet. And then that would force me to share masonry, and I was worried you had the castles. I knew your one was agriculture, and but then there was a chance that maybe some of your other ones were all castles, and I could actually give you an achievement by sharing.
You have a nice stall. Yeah, I was thinking, I thought about the sharing domestication there, but I was sure you would just play currency.
I thought about currency, but I wanted to keep the castles, so I actually would have played philosophy here, covered up code of laws.
Well, because that would have given you one basically. If I had done that, you could have gotten that. So that's why I didn't.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
And I was very happy that you had only 3 leaves. It was my hand is about to go. My hand is about to go.
I actually didn't want to use machinery because I had compass and some other really juicy 3 that I did not want you to have. So I actually didn't want to use machinery. Oh, medicine. Yeah, I didn't want you to have medicine and compass. That would have been too dangerous.
Yeah. Here I wanted you to not to get the points. Menu stall, which
yeah, I was not happy that you returned to 2 because that made me just 1 point short later on.
yeah, and yeah, so here is here is the disaster. Yeah, the first time, okay, like not too bad. It's okay, might happen. Second time,
Yeah.
And this was really terrible because there were only 8 cards, and
Yeah.
and by using paper I could force it to stay 4.
Yes. Yes.
And in the meanwhile, I what did you think of navigation? Because I thought maybe it was a waste.
It was a little irritating, and I kept debating, do I want to steal it or not? Yeah, it was just kind of an irritation. It wasn't anything that I was like too scared about, you know.
Yeah, well, it got me too. That was the only reason why. Right? Otherwise, you could get 2.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't. The navigation.
Alchemy really determined the course of this game, didn't it?
Sorry.
Alchemy really determined the course of this game.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
did.
I agree.
Yeah, I had no momentum after alchemy just wiped me out.
Here, were you trying to get agriculture or with
I thought it was a nice threat that I could try to steal agriculture. But you would steal road building, which then means you would steal compass, and then you would steal agriculture back. So I thought this was more of a pressure move, I think. And yeah, I think that was the only thing that I was thinking there.
Well, it prevents navigation from stealing cards too.
Right, and
Temporarily.
navigation was
Temporarily.
neutralized. Yeah.
Yeah, here I thought I thought navigation was just too slow, so I just wanted the points.
Hmm.
And then is it here that you use translation?
Yeah. Yeah. So here, instead of using translation, I didn't notice. Okay, actually, no. So I was ahead on castles. But when I melded engineering, that put me down by 1. Okay, so that's
Right.
why my count was off. I see. Yeah, because if we were tied on castles, I could have shared monotheism, and you would have tucked the top 4, which was perspective.
Yes.
I would have took the next one, which was colonialism, and I would get gunpowder in the share.
Yeah.
And so that would have been very nice. But yeah, here I thought, okay, translation, I'll meld engineering and I'll wipe out your 1s because I was kind of annoyed with mysticism. And I wanted some points. So, and I needed something a little bit more dynamic. I need display actually. So I was very kind of regretting returning. Alchemy took philosophy out of my hand, and that was my way of splaying. So yeah, I was definitely feeling the pressure that I was just stacks that were unsplayed here. So that was the other reason for engineering. Yep, and then you had the perfect counter with printing press and Reformation.
Yeah, here I thought about using gunpowder.
Yeah.
But then I was thinking, of maybe so probably you give me monotheism, and then you can use compass. Then you steal something, and I don't have way to score points. And you had colonialism in your hand, so it's not that I could keep using gunpowder.
Well, so what I was going to do, if you use gunpowder, I would give you engineering.
Really?
And then I would use road building to send colonialism over to you and cover gunpowder and steel navigation.
Yeah, so I was okay. I was okay with. Yeah, I think I achieved.
And now I was happy protecting my reds.
Yes.
And I actually got a really nice tucking streak here. So that was good. So you didn't kill monotheism at that point. I was surprised.
Yeah, I think it was again the same problem with compass.
You were worried about compass. Okay.
Yeah, because like without that, I was losing. I was behind on crowns.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I. Next move, I think I couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, so I was very unhappy that you had a red.
Yes, but that was quite lucky. Like 1 card. Yeah, here I don't know. Maybe I should have waited, but just I thought that you had measurements and.
I had drawn pirate code and societies, so I could splay purple and red, but actually because of the numbers in those piles, pirate code would get me pirate code back, and societies would get me the 4, which was perspective. So it was limited abilities there. No. Yeah, so I was happy machine tools was my first 6.
Yeah, here I'm not entirely sure this was a good idea. Just I thought statistics was. This was the one you mentioned, Colin, right?
Yeah. So I see the 4 there now. Yeah, I totally. Yeah, that changes things.
Yeah, I'm not sure it was like the thing was I needed too many moves to get to 6. But
To age 5.
yeah.
You need H5, yeah.
Like, because I had to get rid of a 4, draw a 6, play it, and then yeah.
Oh, with call though. I guess I guess you.
I guess you could have drawn a 6 and then used agriculture, couldn't you?
Yeah,
that was
with
maybe.
like printing press.
Well, so if you hadn't accepted my canal building, you had 20 points. So on your turn, you could have drawn a 6, used
But I was
agriculture.
age 4.
Ah, okay, never mind. Yeah.
Like I could use invention to get 4 points, but then I would, yeah, like I could draw agriculture.
So you also had to meld, right? Okay. Uh-huh. So
Ah,
it
no,
was a bunch of actions, yeah. Because you need to get a 5 on your board,
yeah,
and you need to get 5 points.
yes, yeah.
Okay. Right, and in that amount of time, machine tools would just give me, I just needed 2 turns with machine tools
Yeah.
to get H5.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought in the long run, this like statistics would be useful, but like I didn't really pay attention. Like maybe I should have paid more attention to measurement.
And at this point, I had vaccination in my hand, so I wasn't too worried about statistics.
Yeah, and then got lucky.
Yeah, I really wanted machine tools to score a 6, a purple 6, and it never happened. Because I knew if you got to age 8, you would be you'd have very high chances of getting Empire, because you had every other icon.
Yeah, and then socialism made it even worse. Like if you want clocks age 10, it's like
Ira and I were, or Attica and I were very surprised that this worked. This translation. We're like, what? You had like 6 cards in your score pile and you managed to get all the crowns.
I was debating whether I should achieve the 5 first, because I was thinking I could use pirate code to steal your score pile and at least make it unlikely that you're going to draw very much with printing press, but you unfortunately still had cards. So I achieved the 5 first and then did translation here.
just one question here. Like you did it like this because you wanted the world, right?
Yeah, because I would have loved to have atomic theory on top. And metric system was not that useful at that point. Although actually, I have the icons so I had in my hand, I had industrialization and vaccination. So I was strongly considering melding industrialization and just using it and trying to tuck some clocks first in order to get Empire first, because that was really the only thing that you could do. But it was just not enough time. There were so many 7s left in the pile.
Yeah. No, I think given the situation, you recovered very nicely. Like I think
Databases.
because I was thinking if you had put classification on top, then you could have tried to steal. Like I was very happy that that wasn't the top card, because then I would have start worrying that you would steal my 10.
But you still have more bulbs, you'd still have a chance of one of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and then here I was thinking like, okay, what 10s could you have? I don't want you to win on score, so at least pirate code. Yeah, it was a good game though.
Yeah. No, I think your comeback since you got machine tools was very nice.
All right. Well, good luck in the final.
Thanks.
It'd be interesting. Yeah, we'll have to schedule that
Yeah.
for later this week. I don't know when you're both free.
Okay. Thank you both for being here. See you in the next one.
Yep.
All right.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Okay.